Hello, and Jumbo, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want us to talk about biting. Yes, and you know, it is very frustrating if you are a parent of young children or you are not a childhood educator. I know you must have come through this one incident where there is a biter and there is that one who get bit. And it is so frustrating, part of it, because it is painful. In this video, I intended to talk about why children bite, what to do immediately the biting occurs, strategies we can take to prevent these behaviors, and how we can collaborate with the parents. There is a reason why that they bite, and in fact one of them is the most overlooked. So watch to the end so that at least you can know how to alleviate this. Hi, my name is Margaret Chirogi, and I have been a childhood educator, as a teacher, as a trainer, and as a coach. And of course, these are things I have practiced and trained people to practice, and it works at least 90% of the time. Everybody would like this to end. Why? Because it nullifies everything that you had done that whole day, because you had to explain to the parent what it is that you did. That incident that happened so quickly, just like that, a split second, and it nullifies everything you did for 9 hours, 58 or 59 minutes that literally you are with that child if you have that child for 10 hours. So the bigger question is it even normal to bite? Is it normal for children to bite? And before I give you the answer, go ahead and subscribe. Also, let me know how it is that you responded to these kind of behaviors in the classroom or even at home, and how you rectify them. So, is it normal? The answer is yes and no. It's not normal, really, because part of it is not a socially acceptable behavior to interact with other children. It is because it hurts. And this is not also an appropriate behavior for children to be reacting this to others, because it doesn't feel good, again, even when it happens to them. It is normal, inappropriate behavior just because at this age, they are experiencing oral stage where everything goes to the mouth, and sometimes they don't recognize whether it is a body that is going in their mouth or it is a toy. They do not have that recognition because everything is really going through the mouth, experiencing the world through the sensory. So maybe then the bigger question becomes, why do they bite? They don't just bite. One of the reasons, this is a general one, they're experimenting the world around them. They're exploring, they're discovering through the mouth. They're just trying to explore the world, to discover things. They're tasting, they're hearing, they're seeing, they're feeling, and all those things. It is important that we know, so that we are aware, so that we can redirect them and give them the materials that they need to explore where they're supposed to be exploring. The other reason is they do not have words. Remember, most of the toddlers and the twos, most of this happens with children under 3. And why? Because most of the time they don't have words to express themselves, and so they continue with what has worked, and definitely biting. And because they do not have the words to express their big emotions, they are frustrated, they do not know what to do, and of course they do not know how to cooperate with play. The other one, they are looking for attention. What do I mean by this? Definitely all bitings are not equal. There are those which may be done randomly, but there is also others which are looking for a need to be met. Children, again, they are exploring. So if it is a need they have, they express it through biting. They are looking for attention, because when they have bit, guess what you do? You go and offer this big reaction. And to a child who is looking for attention, negative or positive attention, hey, they'll get it all, because hey, this time when they bite, you react. And so the way you react also matters. I had a child who used to need a hug, and he would come and bite my knee. Yeah, and by the time I look at the child, he is smiling and the hands up. Why? Because he is needing a hug. And so it becomes my job to train him on the better ways to ask for that hug. Right? The other reason why children bite is because of the triggers. And this is one of the most overlooked, because children are triggered by so many things that are happening outside their control, including, is the child hungry? Is the child tired? Are they exhausted? Are they maybe coming out sick? maybe so stressed they don't know exactly how to react to this, and so what do they do of what it is that they are used to doing, and that is biting. The other one is children becomes overstimulated. The environment will trigger the children to react the way they do, because the space may be so chaotic, so noisy, the light is so sharp, and they do not know how else to express the distress that they feel. And of course, again, they experiment on seeking for relief for all those things by biting. The other one definitely is because they are territorial. Remember, this is also the egocentric age, and everything is mine, me, myself, and I. So everything is mine. I want that toy, it's mine now. It doesn't matter whether the other child is holding it or not, it's mine. Because why? They're only thinking about themselves. They don't have the capacity to think about the other child. This is why we come in to train the children on how to get along with each other. So they always opt to what has worked. If this child who wants this other toy, they have bit and it has worked because the other friend had dropped the toy and they have gotten the toy, guess what happens? That is what they'll continue doing. Part of it, they don't have the capacity to connect between the biting and what their friend have experienced, whether it's the friend or you even. They don't have the connection to know the pain they are causing. Their job is just to bite because I want that toy, and I bite you, you drop the toy, and I get the toy. The bigger question is, I mentioned the way we react definitely is part of the lessons, because children are not listening to you per se. They are looking at what it is that you're doing. They listen with their eyes open. And so the way you react when there is a biting that occurs matters. So what you do when the biting occurs, time is of essence. You act immediately, but before you act, you have to check your emotions. You have to check yourself, because you must be calm when you go to talk to that child, because the last thing you want to do is to go and talk to that child when you're emotionally charged, because definitely you'll be carrying the emotion of that other child who has been hurt and your own emotions. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to go and start lecturing the child. They're not going to hear anything. So checking yourself to make sure that you're calm. And then you go to what I call with an empty face. An empty face meaning that you don't have any emotion. That child can hook so that they look for that reaction another time they do that. So you go with what I call an empty face. And then you give them the words that are so precise and to the point. No biting. Biting hurts. And you pivot quickly to the bitee. I know the popular thing to do is to go to the bitee first and to comfort them first. I say go to the biter first, give that stern instruction, and then pivot quickly. Because if they were looking for attention, you have now then denied them that attention for that particular moment. And you have pivoted because you do not want to reinforce that behavior to get that attention. Because again, remember, bad attention is good attention to that child who is looking for attention. So hey, if you linger there, definitely they will do it again. So you pivot quickly and you go to the bitee to comfort them. Once you comfort them, really help them process what just happens by the conversation you will have. Then after you have comforted this child, then go to the biter again and redirect the child. Let them have an alternative activity to do. If they were fighting for the toy and this child took the toy and bit, just take that toy. That has worked for me as often as I had done it. As educators and parents of young children, how can we eliminate this behavior altogether? How can we be able to proactively engage children in a way that they will not practice behavior? There are so many things that we can do, and one of the things we can do is to teach them, to coach them, to train them before it happens. If you're an educator during the group meeting, this is one of the things to make a lesson plan and help the children process on how to appropriately respond to some of those things happen in the classroom, about it before it happens. Make it a habit to talk about those issues before they happen, on an appropriate way to respond to friends when they're in distress or when they are caught up with the big emotions. The second one you should do is to observe the times, the triggers, when those kind of behaviors happen. Because again, to that child who bite when they're hungry or when they are sleepy, you'll be able to detect, so that at least you can take the appropriate measures to prevent that from happening. The other one is honestly really modeling for the children positive interactions in that classroom. If you scold that child, guess what they'll do? They will again go again and bite, because again they're looking for that attention, because the way you are expressing yourself, they are saying, oh, this is good for me, I can continue doing this because hey, I'm getting the attention. So positive interactions is one of those things that you may not think they work, but they work all the time. It is important we teach children how to identify their big emotions, because they do not have the words. So giving them the words to express themselves, like for example, if their toy is almost being taken, you can say, stop, I'm playing with it, or I'll give you after I'm done, or the children to come and talk to you, the adult in the classroom. And then you can navigate ways in which they can ask for that toy back, or this other child can ask for that toy. It is important. And one of the biggest things you can do as an educator is to really prepare activities and materials which are enough for the children to be able to take turns or to play with without necessarily waiting or without feeling the deficit of not enough toys. So opening as many centers, personally, I'm an advocate of opening the whole center, yes, when you have trained the children how to clean up the mess. Don't open the whole classroom if you have not. And definitely, I know you are teaching them something, so don't just open one center and tell the children all the others are closed, because they'll start fighting for that one center. So when you make every center interesting, the children will have enough time to explore the toys that they have, and they will not have time to go and look at what others are doing, or if they look, they will see another thing, and of course they will be distracted to go and explore in another different way. And that will save you so much, redirecting the children all the time, and also fighting for really trying to get those materials which are not enough. Always make sure that the materials are enough for the centers that you have open, so that the children can have better experience exploring whatever it is that you want them to explore. And especially during the group meeting, and as often as you can remember, reinforce the rules. And the way you reinforce the rules, especially those children who are a little older, like the 2s and the younger 3s, it is so important that you revisit the expectations. I will not call them rules, the expectations of the classroom. This is how we do this in this classroom. And then you allow them to be telling you what it is. So you'll be asking questions. When we are frustrated, what do we do? And when our friend take the toys, what do we do? So you make sure that you are practicing with them, and by that you are enforcing the rules, the expectations in the classroom. And this you can do by putting the visuals in the classroom all around, so that at least the children can know without you reminding them what it is that is expected behavior in the classroom. It is important to talk about this, because the child, especially that child, leave alone the child who bites randomly, because maybe the many of them, but there is that particular child who get along with the biter, and therefore they get to be bit also many times. Sometimes it becomes so traumatizing for that child who get bit, because they now start thinking that biting will happen anytime, or biting is going to happen anytime. I had a child one time in the classroom who would say, I think so and so is thinking to come and bite me. It is so hard for them, because it hurts. And then there is the other component involving the parents. As soon as the biting happens, don't wait for the parent to come and pick up the child before you can actually inform them that there was that biting that happened. You do not want the parent to come and find a scar in their child's body, when you should have told them that happened, and the measures that you're taking in the classroom definitely to really curb that behavior. And then talk to the other parent or the biter to really figure out, when you're doing all these things, remember, we are talking about an inappropriate behavior. The child is not bad, the behavior is. And therefore separating the two will help you be able to advocate for both children, so that you can find solutions sooner. And you'll be able to showcase whatever else that we do so well in the classroom. Let me know how you deal with this kind of behavior in your classroom by commenting below. And thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.